Hello, I'm Melinda Lee, and I've been a Theta Healing practitioner for 10 years now. I'm from Utah, and about 6 years ago I had a grandbaby that was born and had inhaled the meconium. And the meconium is the black tar that holds the intestines open while we develop. But he had actually released it into the water and then had inhaled that into his lungs. So when he was born and they cut the cord, he turned pure white and was completely cut off from oxygen. In that moment, 4 respiratory therapists went to work on him, and I stood in the corner, and I had seen countless miracles for about 4 years, and having that strong innate belief in Theta Healing, I went to the corner, connected with God, and did Theta Healing on Caden for about 20-25 minutes. They continued to do all kinds of things to him to get, a flow of oxygen into his body. But I just connected with God, and I watched the energy come down into his body, and I continued to see his spirit pop outside of his body, and I continued to show him how to go back into his body. It was a process of just watching the Creator download him with unconditional love and oxygenate his brain and his spinal cord and his lungs and his bloodstream. And it was a really remarkable experience that taught me so much. And it was during this process that I saw Caden when he was 18 years old, and I knew he was going to live. And that's what kept me in that state of allowing the Creator to continue to give him the oxygen that he no longer had access to through his lungs. So finally they got him breathing on a scale from 1 to 10 up to a 2. And they said, we have him breathing. They grabbed him up with all these tubes and everything in his body, ran down the hospital corridor, and we got in the elevator. I went with them, and his heart stopped, and it was code blue, and we got out of the elevator, and they ran in and threw him into the arms of the most experienced nurse. And it was a situation where she revived him, got him hooked up to life support, and I continued to stand in the hall and do healing work on him. And a very emotional experience for me, to say the least. And they came into my daughter's room and said, Caden's not going to make it. His lungs, we've done x-rays of his lungs, and they're completely stuck shut with the black tar that's almost impossible to get out. And, we lost a little 8-pound baby girl last month that wasn't a quarter as sick as Caden is, and we just want to prepare you for this. And I looked at the doctor and I said, no, I know that Caden's going to make it. I've seen him at 18. I know he's going to make it. And they all kind of looked at me like I was crazy, but doing the healing work that I do with spirit, there are no limits to God, and there are no limits to the possibilities of just witnessing miracles like I do every day. And so, anyway, Caden was transported to Utah Valley Regional Medical Center, and they said they were going to have to pump all the oxygen out, or all the blood out of his body, and actually do ECMO and take the stress off of his lungs. At this point, they had pumped him full of all kinds of drugs and trying to, I think, flood or release a lot of the meconium from his lungs. And they worked on him. He was actually up to 16 pounds in one day with all the fluids that were pumped into his body. He was life-flighted then again to Primary Children's Hospital in Salt Lake. And we went up there and I worked on him every day for about 7 weeks. But I can tell you, the day they did his MRI, they were expecting that this child would be a vegetable. He was without oxygen for so long. We figure it was 20 to 25 minutes he was without oxygen. And they expected him to be very severe brain damage, and they were just astounded. They came in and just continued to flip through his charts, and they were just like, this baby has no brain damage anywhere. In fact, he's perfect. Everything is perfect. And I think it was a real incredible testament to the healing power of God. And the fact that this child was meant to be here, is meant to be here. He's 6 years old now. Beautiful, healthy, intelligent, first grade. And I witnessed one of the biggest miracles I ever have with this work with him. So I wanted to give you this story today. Caden is extraordinary and still is at this point. And I just want everyone to know the true power of this work and that it's limitless. And when you believe and trust in Spirit, God the Creator, miracles happen. Thank you.